I'm Sofi. I'm currently at Kechara Forest Retreat in Bentong, Malaysia. And today, I'll be doing a very short sharing on why do we pray to Buddha. So why do we usually do things? It is usually because there's a need for something that arises that we will do something. So as such, we need to find the reason that why do we want to pray to Buddha. In Buddhism, we'll begin by understanding the Four Noble Truths, which is the heart of Buddha's teachings. The first of the Noble Truth is suffering. We need to realize that in our current condition in samsara, we are suffering. This is a very basic fact that we need to realize, so that in order to propel us towards starting our spiritual path. So besides suffering, we also have dissatisfactions, and we suffer from diseases and also unstable mind. There is no true lasting happiness in our lives. As you can see, anything that makes us happy, the next moment will be unhappy, because it never really satisfies us. It never lasts long. The first step in our spiritual life is to look very closely and honestly examine our experiences in life and see how each part of our lives we do suffer unhappiness or from any like disease or things that does not last. And then we tend to overlook or ignore or just blindly react to any unpleasantness. So it continues to harm us, and sometimes we do actions that we regret. The second noble truth is the cause of suffering. In order to suffer, there must be a cause for our suffering. So we must understand what is the cause of it. Usually it will arise from the wish to always fulfill the selfishness that's within us, to fulfill our own needs, everything that is conditioned towards making us happy, which is through our delusion or through our own expectations that we think that is happiness. So our whole life is spent on fulfilling of the me. Our craving arises for the sense of experience, to be rich, to be famous, to be loved, to be respected, to be immortal. We can never be immortal, as you know. Eventually, everyone dies, grow old and die, or grow sick, and so that's not a reality that can keep us here. Yet, the moment these cravings are satisfied, let's say if you wish for promotion and you did get the promotion, so once you have that, you're happy for a moment, and then the next you'll be wishing for a higher promotion. Or if you're rich, what level of wealth would satisfy you? So as such, there is no moment that is permanent for you to feel happy about. I mean, you can have that happiness lasting. And then the third one of the Noble Truth is cessation of suffering. As Buddha has gone through his many aeons, his 3 aeons of spiritual practice, where he had gained enlightenment, and as such, he understood that there is a possible way to stop all our sufferings. It said that although we suffer physically, which is a natural aspect of life, but we can learn to transcend, which is rise above our mental suffering. So that we learn what is the reason, the root cause of our suffering, which is usually based on our selfish mind, our selfishness to satisfy our own needs. And the fourth of the Noble Truth is the way to cessation of suffering, which is the path or the method that Buddha taught us, that we are able to follow, and in following diligently with practices, we are able to gain some realizations and to practice towards gaining full peace of the mind, which is also towards our enlightenment. So I will briefly let you know the path that Buddha has taught is the Noble Eightfold Path, which is basic training of our body, speech, and mind. The first is right understanding, right intention, right speech, right actions, right livelihood, right effort, right mindfulness, and right concentration. So as such, once you understand why you are suffering, and that's a possible way to get out of suffering, then it will propel you, or it will encourage you and inspire you to seek the answer so that you may be out of it. And as you know that Buddha has gained enlightenment, and he has gained all the qualities through his virtuous acts, and through his right conduct throughout his lifetimes with the 3 aeons of practice. He is a good person. I mean, he's someone that we can rely on, and that we can keep his use his practice to help us get out of suffering. You see, he has gained enlightenment in his human form, and as such, it's an example for us that we too are able to gain the same that he has. And we can also rely on his qualities, such as the compassion, wisdom, and his skillful means, and all the enlightened qualities that he has practiced. And he has gained enlightenment through his practices. So it's confirmed that, you know, if we were to practice this with diligence and in the proper way, then we'll be able to gain the same. So when we pray to the Buddha, we take refuge in the Buddha. Taking refuge, which means that we seek shelter, or we seek help in his method, in his teachings, and we pray to him. It's not worshipping a statue, but we're worshipping we are celebrating his qualities, his enlightenment, and at the same time we are also praying that we may also develop these qualities, and we work towards it, that we too can gain our potential enlightenment. So at the same time, when we pray to the Buddha, we focus on his qualities, and at the same time, because of Buddha's enlightenment and his merit fields, that we may be able to tap into it, so that to help us gain, to help us on our spiritual path as well. As for the merit fields, in the future I would have a topic on this, and I will explain further into that. And for today, this is basically why why we would want to pray to the Buddha, because he has already gained enlightenment. He's a good example for us that it's possible for us to do the same. So as such, we can rely on his practices, his teachings, to help us gain the way out. And of course, it would be tremendously helpful, and if you are able to find a precious guru to guide you as well, because he's the most compassionate. He encompasses everything of Buddha's qualities, and he's able to guide us towards our path. Thank you. So today I will share until here, and for now I will take some questions. Right. The question from Yin Teo: what does it mean by unstable mind? How to stabilize our mind? Our unstable mind is actually stemming from our needs, our selfish needs, where one moment we're happy because we have our needs fulfilled or our craving, our wants fulfilled, and then the next moment when we move on to the next thing that we are craving for, and if it's not fulfilled, then we'll be in suffering because we will keep wanting to have that craving fulfilled. So as such, if you understand that your suffering is actually stemming from that, and the instability of the mind is because of that craving, that fulfillment of the self, then if you were to eliminate that, then you will be able to overcome and maintain a better stable mind. Or maybe you can focus on more positive aspect, and which is how Buddha practiced in his virtuous acts and his right conduct to benefit others. So that will be better solution to that. Okay, Pastor Adeline has asked, what is true happiness? True happiness is realized when you have actually eliminated all your selfish needs. You are only concentrated on benefiting others, and when others benefit, you are happy that they are actually gaining happiness. I mean, they are they are gaining more peace of mind, or they have their problems solved. So because that will bring out the true nature of yourself, which is abiding in benefiting the compassion to help others. That will be the true happiness. Pastor Shin has asked, but isn't it logical that I must take care of myself first before thinking about others? As a human in samsara, you do need to take care of some of your basic basic necessities, such as maybe to just fulfill your hunger, or maybe you need to fulfill, the body needs to rest. Those are some of the basic things that you could fulfill. But the thing is, when you have like cravings, the wants, those are like based on your own selfish needs, which you do not actually need. That means you do not, it does not fulfill that necessity that you need. Because like, let's say if you were to say fulfill your hunger, anything you eat will fulfill your hunger. But when you have a preference for maybe like rice, for noodles, for bread, then you create that craving that will bring unhappiness if you do not have it met. I mean, you do not have that thing to eat. So as such, that is when you are imposing your own cravings on it, that makes you suffer. And because if you do not have that selfish need for yourself, or maybe if you do, but if you have that compassion or kindness, that you see others are suffering in the same situation, maybe because you are in that situation where you understand that if you do not have that maybe like food to eat, then you would empathize with someone who is also facing hunger. So as such, when you have the ability to share with that person, to that person, so that the person does not feel hunger anymore, then you will feel that happiness within you because you have helped someone. That is a natural goodness within you. So in that sense, yes, you do fulfill some of your basic needs, and if you can, share with others. Chris has asked, Buddha does not have a guru and he gained enlightenment. Why do you recommend us to seek for a guru? Right. Buddha actually had a few gurus before he gained enlightenment, but he had found that he had found that it had not fulfilled his the need within, which he went off to meditate by himself, and he was actually practicing starvation, which is based on one of the method that other gurus was teaching. And from that, at the point where he was like really emaciated, a girl came up with and offered him a bowl of milk with some rice, and from then, that is the point where he realized that having a body in samsara, you still need to fulfill some basic needs. And that is how he realized that starving is not the way, and he went further into seeking within his mind, but at the same time he also took the middle path, as in not venturing into the extremities of the practice. But the current guru that we would seek, they are practitioners of Buddha's teachings. So in that way, we can rely on these gurus because they have practiced and they have they have understanding to be able to guide us. And also, there is a point where, because Buddha has practiced over 3 aeons, so that was the very last life that he was practicing, which means he had all the practices from the past lives to accumulated up to that present, that he had that merit to actually gain that realizations in that life. Okay, from Chris. I'm very content with my life. Why do you say that I'm suffering? If the very first question is, can you live forever? If you can't, that is the point of suffering. A lot of people avoid this fact that one day we will die, and they just avoid the idea that death will come, and that is the point of suffering. So no matter what they do, they try to look young and they live a good life, and everything that they try in life to make themselves happy. But at that point, the eventuality will come where one has to die. So you can never avoid suffering in this world. And everywhere you look around, there are people who are suffering. Those who are poor, who may be incapacitated, or children who has no food to eat, those are suffering too. So in this world there is suffering, especially death will come. Okay, Chris asks, what is the need within that Buddha wants to satisfy? Right. when Buddha was born a prince, and his parents have kept him in the palace in comfort and in enjoyment. So as such, one day Buddha went out of the palace. He saw a very old man, and he has never been exposed to anyone old, and he was shocked. And then next he came upon a very sick man, and he has never seen anyone who's sick. And finally he came upon someone who has died, and at that point he was very shocked. So when he went back to the palace and he thought about it, and he realized that he need to find the answer to this. And at that point, that is, he felt that he need to find the answer, and also because he was afraid for his parents as well. So then for he just wants the answer, so that is within him, and from that compassion or the question, he went out seeking for the answer. Right. A question from Punap Namge Wangchok. What is Guru devotion, and how to choose our Guru? Today the topic is not on this, but it would be better if I were to because I'm not very sure on this topic, and it's better for me to find the answer, and I'll answer you in my Facebook later. Pastor Adeline has said that it is incorrect to say that the Buddha realized that the body is samsara and therefore he needs to eat. Yes, that's true. It's incorrect. But he realized that because when the body is in a weak state without any food, then this one is I'm not very sure, so it'll be best that I were to find out the answer, and I'll put it into the answers into my Facebook, so that all of us can learn. Okay, Pastor Adeline has asked, what are the 4 signs that Prince Siddhartha Gautama saw that made him decided to leave home and seek for the truth? Okay, this I do not know. I only know the 3 signs. So as such, I would look for the answers, and I'll answer here as well. Okay, is there any more questions? Right, there's no more question, and I do thank you for the questions, because in that way I will learn as well. Thank you very much. And today I'll end the session with a prayer in Tibetan. Jang Job Sencho Rinpoche, Make Panam Geyushi, Ge Panam Pame Payang, Goni Gondu Pe Washu, Toni Towa Rinpoche, Make Panam Geyushi, ke panam pa me payang goni gondu pe washo Daso jini sapage wadi tandan drowa guna gampadang jepa jesu los antrapai tamping imporin dusa se sho kewa kuntu yanda lamadan drame choki pala no choching sadam langi yote razone doje changi ngopang otuso kewa di yududa lama sangyo drione drewa chikya malupa de salago pasho choki kya posung kapa chosu nampa pewala geki sama siwada tungki malu sawasho dadam sungi dosundan drewa songi lakeni Ewa los antrapai tampa yuriba yushi ni modele sendele ni megunyandele shi ni sentatu dele fel kunchu sungi jingilo kunchu sungi ngodruso kunchu sungi trasi sho jesu nama kusen raptingchi nam katrini chocho ge padang losam tempe drome sapsungi droe mun satato ni yushi gangwe rawe koi shinkam dem pendan dewa malu yoini Chandran Sik Wan Ten Sing Jat Soi Shape Shide Badu Thank you. Thank you.